Hey, how y'all doing? This is Steve Dash. I was the guy who was Jason in Friday the 13th, Part 2, with the bag over the head. Not like the regular guys. And you're listening to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Tim O and Harley Show. I am Tim O. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben Heavy Metal Harley.
That's right. I wish I could do a Rob Halford scream, and that would have been good. Yes, right.
If you could do a Rob Halford scream, could you please give me a little warning so I could take my earbuds out, please?
Yeah.
It's pretty early in the morning.
All right, Tokyo.
Yeah. So I'm not sure I can handle one of those yet. Okay, so Mr. Ben Harley, this is vacation shows. So anybody who's not familiar with the shows or whatever, we're recording 2 shows in one day. We're claiming they're going to be shorter shows because we are now beginning this process, recording them, with every intention, Mr. Ben Harley, of having 2 shorter shows. My fear is we're about ready to have 2 4-hour shows. Because that's usually what happens. We actually get involved and wrapped up in things. So if all goes planned, you may be listening to a bit of a shorter show. I usually try to make the show at least like an hour long. Yeah. Or so. I try to keep it right at an hour. Like sometimes it's a couple minutes over. Not very often is it under. But
no, we got a lot to talk about. We don't want to leave our fans in the lurch either, Tim. You know, anything under an hour is just beneath us, man. Right.
We don't want to be hanging on to any mental information that we're not unleashing onto the populace, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's what's important. That's what's important, I'm telling you. So, yes. So anyway, we're going down to Gatlinburg, and it's been a while since I've been down there. Mr. Ben Harley, didn't you get part of your persona down in Gatlinburg, Tennessee? I mean, part of your personality was purchased down there, right?
Yes.
The hateful one, right?
Shirt, the greatest shirt that I've ever owned in my life, Tim. If I wish I could, I would. I'd wear that shirt every day. Yeah. You know? I even get hit on by little old ladies wearing that thing.
Yeah, Mr. Ben Harley, he sees yellow Western shirts, and to him, he reads hate. This is a hateful shirt, man.
This is very hateful, yes.
Yeah, I think parakeet, but...
The hateful peacock. I'm telling you, Tim.
Lord. Okay. So, but anyway, so yes, we're going to attempt to do a couple of shorter shows. So this week and next week. Also, I'm going to mention this on both shows that our website is going to be a little off. Not our actual TimOandHarleyShow.com. Right. I update that, and I can't really do that from Gatlinburg. So anyway, so just go to our Podbean page or just look here on Facebook. We usually have the player that comes up on Mondays. You can just hit play. Nice and simple for everybody. Just listen if they want to. But I know some people go to our website and listen. So I'm just cautioning you that it will not probably be it'll be updated late next week. Yeah. Let's put it that way. It'll be updated a little late.
And Tim needs a vacation, so, you know.
Yeah, I want to get the hell out. I want to get the hell out. I want to get out of this house to go hide in another house in a different municipality. Yes. And
far away.
We're going to go stay at a big house in the woods.
Yeah.
The big difference is we'll be on top of a hill, not next to a gulch.
Right.
So,
I'm
not sure. Well, I got to watch a few things, Mr. Ben Harley here. Yeah. And let's see here. First up, Mr. Ben Harley, from 1959 or 1960, depending on what your faith is, I guess. I don't know. We have the movie The Flesh and the Fiends.
Oh, okay.
So this is pretty cool. So check this out. This is the Burke and Hare story. You know, the Burke and Hare, the grave robbers story. Like that was The Body Snatcher is probably my favorite version of that story. We haven't reviewed it yet, but I know you also have The Doctor and the Devils. That's also a Burke and Hare story.
Yeah, I know.
Well, this is a Burke and Hare story that stars Peter Cushing and Donald Pleasance.
Oh, two of the best.
A 1959 Peter Cushing and Donald Pleasance. So, yes.
We get any hair flipping?
Well, yeah, not from Donald Pleasance, not a whole lot. But
don't it? Well, then forget it.
No, this was actually wonderful. This was a great little. I don't think I've seen this before. It's not readily available. I'd heard of it before, but Peter Cushing plays the actual. I can't remember his actual name. The doctor that was taking the bodies from Burke and Hare, and then Donald Pleasance plays one of the Burke and Hare characters. And I mean, it's the same story. You've seen these other ones, but it's just, I don't know, it's done well. And for 1959, 1960, I was thinking about you, Mr. Ben Harley. I saw a lot of nipples, a lot of boobs.
Oh, really?
Yes. 1959, 1960 boobs. You don't see a lot of those boobs.
No.
You're not sure boobs look the same back then. We don't know. It's hard to see them. They didn't show any. But,
they never show them enough. Yeah.
No. So, but this was quite the racy film for back then.
Wow. Nice. Yeah.
Put it this way. There is an American version that is 15 minutes shorter.
Really? All boobless?
Boobless, yes. So I appreciated those 15 minutes of fame, if you will.
Yeah, that kind of, we like that cushioning. Right?
Oh,
Right?
Absolutely.
Padding, I mean, sir. Yeah.
Yes.
In the movie.
Let's see here. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. From 1969.
Okay.
Watched a movie. This was on Amazon Prime, right?
Alrighty.
And it was directed by one Ishua Honda. From Gojira fame.
Gojira, yes, I love
we like this guy. We like the Toho film. This is a Toho movie called Latitude Zero.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so this is on Prime. You can watch this if you'd like.
Good.
You can watch it.
I would like to.
If you want to see Cesar Romero create the King Lion from the Island of Misfit Toys, an origin story, if you will, this movie is for you.
This is the movie for me. All right.
It's kind of a cross between Rudolph and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So yes, so the lion has a human brain, a lion body, and fake condor wings that he puts on from looks like Rodan, a human-sized Rodan.
Yeah.
Did I mention this movie was directed by Ishua Honda?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
From 69, huh?
We have, let's see here. We have giant bat people in this movie.
And this is pre-Smog Monster Day, so this is Bizarro, yeah.
There's giant rats in it, too. And you know those costume rats. The rats tend to climb on their knees, right? Hands and knees. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, what's this called again now?
Latitude Zero.
All right, yeah. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I know what I'm watching today.
Mm-hmm. Ben Harley, make sure and do whatever, the best drugs you have. The best drugs you have. What I can promise you is that this makes the It's a Small World ride at Disney. Yeah, it makes that nightmare-inducing ride look like Terms of Endearment.
I thought about you the other day, Tim. I was watching a little behind the scenes on Disney, and they were showing
I don't want to know what's behind the scenes. No.
The making of, It's a Small World, boy. Ooh, you'd have been ripping your eyeballs off.
No. Yeah. Was David Carradine, or was any Carradine involved in that ride?
No.
Was it David Lynch at all?
No. Yeah.
Okay,
they inspired David Lynch, I think.
I tell you what, it makes that ride makes Eraserhead look like an episode of 60 Minutes. It's bad. So this movie is fucked up, man. It's got Joseph Cotton in it, Cesar Romero. Oh man, and here, the weird thing is, for the most part, it's not dubbed.
Oh, really?
It's even the Japanese characters are speaking in English, and I think they're actually recording it live. Wow. If not, it's done really well. But either way, this is an interesting movie. You know, it kind of reminds me of a 1969 version of our official film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's kind of a kitchen sink film where you're like. You're oversensitized,
Like, what are they going to do next?
You're sitting there thinking, why haven't I seen this, and why wasn't I forced by someone once for something bad I've done? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Latitude Zero.
Okay. All right.
I know you want to see this. I mean, I know you want to see Cesar Romero directed by Shio Honda. I know it.
Yeah.
Get on it quick. Get on it.
I want to see giant. What you say it was sort of not giant rats, but kind of human size.
Okay,
rats?
so you've seen a rat run,
I guess that
right?
would be giant. Yeah. Oh,
okay, so a true rat, runs on its feet, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you are a human that's in a rat costume in a Japanese Godzilla-style movie, you're not running on your feet. You're running on your hands and knees, right?
Right.
Like Gamera really wasn't. He was really a bad turtle because his feet were deformed apparently, and he climbed around his knees. Right. So, yeah. I'm just reminding you that these costumed crawling creatures crawled on their knees, not their hands, like they're supposed to. So, kind of like King Kong walked upright. So,
right.
We get this. It's
right up my alley, is what you're saying.
All
right, thanks. Yeah.
I'm remembering it, and I'm a little upset at myself for even remembering it. So Mr. Ben Harley, something that I wanted to talk about here.
Yeah.
I wanted to get that out of my system because you have to see Latitude Zero.
Yeah.
And let me know. Listen, if your drugs aren't good, this is like a booster.
Yeah, this is
okay. So you can just do that, and then anytime you're like, I really need a lift, but I got some pretty crappy weed. Just turn on Latitude Zero.
Yeah, and you'll feel like you've been huffing gas, right?
I promise you. You won't know. You won't know. Yeah, you'll forget. So, all right. So, I went on a freak out, Mr. Ben Harley. Okay. I've gone on a couple of freak outs. No, that was enough for me. I couldn't handle anymore. I gotta go on vacation, Mr. Ben Harley. I don't want to be. I don't want to hide in a closet, fearing for what's outside the door. So that much. So, and if you watch this movie too much, it's going to happen, or things like it. So, all right. So I went on a freak out.
I laid on.
All right. Friday the 13th. Freak out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So we started from 1980 with Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Well,
yes. First one. Yes. Again, not like we haven't seen this film.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. But we did watch it, and then back to back watched Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah.
So the first two we watched. And
how'd that go for you?
It was fun and interesting because I always talk about these movies and about how the first one is basically a standalone movie. I mean, the first one is it's way more of a giallo movie.
Yeah.
Influenced by. Now, it was made because of Halloween. There's no bones about that. Sean Cunningham. So that's exactly why it was made. Victor Miller says, I was told to write a ripoff of Halloween. But the thing is that with Friday the 13th and Halloween, they are distinct series. And and the Friday the 13th, what it kind of took from Halloween was the finding the splayed corpses, if you know what I mean. Now, we've watched a few movies where I've been shocked when they find a bloody splayed corpus that's been left for someone to find. Giant from the Unknown comes to mind.
Yeah.
Where they open a door and, bloody guy hanging off the wall or whatever, he's been killed. These movies really, and if you think about Halloween, that was part of the horror of it. Was really finding the bodies as opposed to, so you got some mileage out of each murder. So you got scary murder and then the scary, I found the corpse.
Yeah, you got the little jump scare sort of too. Yeah.
So you got that. Yep. And I think that was something that Halloween really honed in on. And I think they did a good job with. It really made that a stylistic type of thing. Yeah. And this, I think,
especially the way they were, with this, the Judith Myers when it was laid out, with the headstone and stuff like that. That was very, very like, oh, geez.
Right. Well, and we talked about that. We talked about the killer, like me and Angio did. We're watching. We talked about the killer. He went through a lot of work. He did, man. He brought
tired.
I didn't see him dragging around that headstone. You know what I mean? What the hell? I mean, he did a lot of work.
He did.
He went through a lot of trouble to do this.
It definitely had the effect.
Right.
And what's so scary too about that, Tim, is like, and I still get this effect from that movie is like, because you still don't know, is this real or is it not? You know what I mean? Because if I was in that scenario or whatever, because it's Halloween and your friends are there, your friend's pulling a prank on you, you know what I mean? Right. Until she gets stabbed. Once she gets stabbed in the arm okay, now it's on. All right. You know, oh, I know what's happening now. No, I'm in big trouble. But up until then, it's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, which I think is really cool. You know, it's a cool effect because I always feel like that. I'm like, oh man, you know, and I think that was what was cool about it being Halloween. You know what I mean? Right. Not the movie, but Halloween, the season, you know, in the movie. So, you know what I mean? So,
well, and so we got, because you have to compare the movies because they just have to. I mean, because they're companion franchises. They really are. Yeah. I mean, you know, but, for sure. But I think that what was interesting is that when you think about it, like where the series kind of sort of slipping with Halloween 2 is that he became less. Wasn't like he wasn't creative with the way he killed people. He became less creative with the way he splayed them out and the way he did things and stuff. With Friday the 13th, it takes that, but it takes it with a more raw, woodsy kind of feel. Whereas Halloween is like a suburban nightmare. Friday the 13th is a rural nightmare. You know, it's out in the wilderness.
Camping.
Summer campfire tale. Yeah, exactly. So, but it's totally a giallo movie. Yeah. And Jason's dead. And then the whole thing at the end is just sort of a dream of hers and stuff. So interesting. So I don't really love Friday the 13th. I think it's an okay movie. I like how it jump-started some things and did some stuff. I think like if you watch it and then watch a movie like we watched last week, The Dorm That Dripped Blood, you definitely appreciate Friday the 13th about how much better it is than a lot of other films.
No, I just, you know, that what I'll always remember about that movie is where I was and what happened at the end with the jump scare, you know, with Jason at the end and all that. And I will say, as a kid, having Mrs. Voorhees as the killer was intense for me, you know. And then I liked how she came in all nurturing and everything, and the next thing you know, she's trying to bang the chick's head off the ground and smash her and kill her. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, you know, it's like it was jarring, you know. Right. But I see where you're coming from.
Well, what I kind of didn't like about Friday the 13th and where Friday the 13th Part 2 started changing was that in Friday the 13th, it's clearly a friendly face. Because if you oh hey, what are you doing on here? You know, stuff, and so it's obviously a friendly face. You don't know. Sure. Now jump to Friday the 13th Part 2. Yeah. Okay. Now this is, to me, I think this is. It's not that I have a hard time with these first two movies because I really think Friday the 13th Part 2 is the first Friday the 13th movie. If you watch it, they basically spend, and this is they spend a lot of the movie recapping the first one.
Yes. Yeah, they did.
You don't, because we did watch them back to back, and I told Angie, I was like, probably didn't need to watch the first one now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Because it's there's really not a whole lot that goes on in the first one. No. You're supposed to just be creeped out and scared by the fact you're sitting in a theater watching a horror film. And you don't know when the threat is coming at you. You don't know. So you're sitting there tense the whole movie. Well, the second one is interesting because I still say that you don't know who the killer was. If I told Angie when we were watching, like try to watch this with only the first one under your belt. Right. Like think of it this way. Like you're an audience member, and what year, Mr. Ben Harley, would that be? Friday the 13th Part 2? What year?
Was that 81?
It was 81. Yes. Yes. So imagine sitting in the theater thinking, okay, what's going on here? Who is this? Now who's killing people?
Sure. Yeah.
And what's interesting about it is I told Angio, I said, I know one of the thoughts I had was Jason's father.
Okay.
Where was the dad at? I mean, the mom was, where was the father at? So the father now was pissed, you know, or something like that. You did not know it was Jason because Jason was dead, right? Right. But you started picking up on things as the movie went along. What was interesting is for some reason, either I knew this and forgot about it, or I never did know, that the reason that Sean Cunningham, Tom Savini, I think even Victor Miller, I think the reason those guys weren't involved in the second one was that they were like, what? Jason? He's dead.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't,
right,
you know?
Right.
Well, watching these two, you can, because what it makes you question is, did Mrs. Voorhees kill everyone in the first movie? Because you never saw the killer.
No.
So after they make the second movie, you could go back to the first and say a couple of those murders could have been attributed to Jason if he was still kind of hanging around, and stuff like that.
They could have been doing a tag team, man.
Right. Well, the argument that Sean Cunningham and Tom Spinaz guys made is like, well, if Jason was alive, he could have told Mrs. Voorhees and really avoided all the murders in the first place. So it would maybe, except that if your kid was drowned and it made him more damaged and goofy and you wanted people to believe he was drowned, or you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of creepy ways you can go with this, Yeah,
I get that though, Tim. I never really thought of it that way, but no, that's a really good point. Though.
Well, really. I'm always trying to outthink a movie, and don't think I wasn't trying to outthink a movie when I was 8 years old. Right, because I was. Right. I mean, we're all the same as we were when we were kids. We're a little, hopefully more mature. Maybe not me.
Yeah.
But
some more than others.
But I tell you what, the part 2, the last 15, 20 minutes of that movie, I will still put up against any film. Like as far as suspense, tension, edge of your seat. I'll throw it over with Jaws or anything else. Not the whole movie. I'm just talking about that last. We're basically right where who's the dude with the bag in his head? Well, that comes out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
And we can't watch it with those eyes anymore. But if you think I just have the first movie under my belt and watch part 2, what a tremendous frightening experience, And to the credit of Steve Miner and the guys that actually did the second one, I don't think it could have been done much better given the fact it didn't make a lick of sense. It really didn't make a lick of sense. But guess what? We're messing with horror movies here. That's the world we're in, is horror movies. There's not a lot of sense. And then here's the thing too. If they're complaining about it, there was this little series of films that Universal put out back in like the 30s called the Frankenstein films.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty sure he was drowned in boiling sulfur and burned alive, and he kept coming back. Really, the Jason Voorhees thing is almost like the Frankenstein monster of the 80s, of that era, I think.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. No,
right.
Yeah, definitely. And, part 2, it's just, this sounds weird. I hold it so dear. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I do. I think I love that movie. I always have. You know what I mean? And it scared me a little bit more than the first one, and I don't know. I like the whole baghead thing too. That also goes back to the Town of Dreaded Sundown, goes back to that. Mm-hmm. But
that was intentional. I'm pretty sure that they did that to give homage, or just that was creepy, man. Use that. And they used a different kind of bag, but it was a pillowcase, I think. And yes. And that. So,
and it just, I don't know, it frightened me, it did, since I was a kid. And I just liked the movie. Mm-hmm. I like the characters in it too. Mm-hmm. There's some that are really easy on the eyes in that one as well. And well, I just thought it was good.
You're talking about Muffin, the dog, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Muffin's hot.
I hate that dog. I hate that dog. I just couldn't stand a little dog. I don't like little dogs. No, but I really think that, like, and then also if you watch it, you also follow me with this. Even at the end of part 2, you weren't really sure what just happened.
No.
It was such a dream. It was so set in reality on one hand and so dreamlike in another hand. And then you watch part 3 and you realized, I guess it's just Jason out there.
Yeah. Because it's like when he, I really, at the beginning of part 2, I'm so thrown off by him showing up at her house, like he came and got Adrian King's character. Mm-hmm. And it's just, at that point too, I was like, oh boy, this is a whole other set of rules. You know what I mean? Like, right. It doesn't matter. He's, revengeful or whatever. And so, I often thought, because it's like when she opens the door and then the head's right there, I'm like, oh my God, it's like I've often thought that's one of the better scenes in any of the Friday the 13th movies, and it's just so, like you said, almost dreamlike, and the way the movie's shot too, for me, it's got a very dreamy quality, I think too.
It does.
There's a lot,
Right. Well, and that's the thing. It's partially so based in like a cold reality, and then so based in this weird dreamlike kind of. And I do think that Harry Manfredini's music is like huge in giving you that feeling that the movie is in and stuff, especially the low key, creepy kind of music with the ding 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 ding, kind of stuff. Yeah. But the very end of Friday the 13th Part 2, they have a close-up of Mrs. Voorhees' head. Yeah. Now, apparently what they shot was her eyes opening and the mouth smiling. I'm so glad they didn't use that, because I think that would have completely changed everything, and it would have... They kept trying to... Remember, even in the end of Part 3, they kept trying to tease they're going to bring the mother back as a zombie.
Yeah, or something.
I was waiting for that the whole damn series, because if Jason could come back, why couldn't his mother? I was so glad, though, that they kept out of that through the first 4 films, really through the first 5 films.
Yeah.
There's some bit of, I don't know if reality is right, but there's some bit of suspension of disbelief could still be had.
Sure. Yeah.
Sort of like in Halloween, you got the first couple movies, and after that, no, I'm sorry, he's dead. Forget it. No. He's not coming back anymore. But, and I say 5 because the 5th one is what it is as well. Not that you have to love it or like it. I'm just saying that these could be based on kind of a reality. And I think that it made it a little even more confusing, the fact that Mrs. Voorhees didn't open her eyes. Was that Jason? Was that?
Yeah.
Or was that final thing the dream? But you didn't know. Now, if you're going back and watching it, I don't think they thought they were trying to trick you.
Right.
I think I was tricking myself. And maybe I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone in that, and stuff. So it is interesting. It's interesting to know that they just went straight Jason, and you watch us going, what the hell?
Right.
But, it made me tip my hat a little bit toward our dear departed friend, Steve Dash, too. Because, man, did he do a good job? He was creepy in that, like scary, like the way he was running around. And that look when he gets hit with that machete, that little eyeball look he gives to the camera. Mm-hmm. I never forget that. I will never forget that. That was cool as hell. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but.
Yeah, no. And that's the one thing, too, in that film. There's just the part where he runs across the road as the sheriff's going. That's just one of those things like, okay, that's just someone that ran across the road, but you have a bag on its head? Mm-hmm. Or you're like, the hell was that type thing, And as a sheriff, of course you're going to investigate, but if I'd have saw that, that'd have freaked me out. It still does. That part, and it's so quick, and it's only about, I don't know, and the second and a half clip still scares the shit out of me to this day. To this day, seeing it, because like if you're going down like a rural road or something, you saw something like that, you're like, what the,
Right, exactly.
Punch it, Margaret, So, I love that movie, though, a lot. I really do. And then the ones after, I like some of them, but I don't like being tricked like the one, the ambulance driver one, whatever,
Yeah, that one was a little hard to, I think it's sort of like a Halloween 3. I think I knew what they were trying to do. And really, in fairness, it looked kind of like they were trying to not do it again. Like they did it already to you in Friday the 13th Part 2. Yeah. And they wanted to have some logic because he was so clearly killed at the end of Part 4. That they were like, okay, fine. Like we can't do this anymore. And of course, then by Part 6, which I love Part 6 because it's fun. Yeah. Part 6 just takes the gloves off. It's like, all right, we're not even going to try anymore. And but that's so obvious when you're watching it that it's kind of fun to watch it that way. But so I kind of know what they were doing. I kind of get it. They were experimenting, trying to do whatever they were doing. But I don't know. It was fun.
Experimenting, all right, Timo. Wink, wink. Yeah.
So it was interesting and fun to go back and watch. I just
it's cool to do it like that,
and it was fascinating to me to watch this and realize that these guys were just trying to piece these movies together, and we're as an audience sitting out there fascinated by this, just wondering like the intricacies of what's going on, and they were just I think trying to get it out the door.
It's our job for 6 months or whatever.
Right, but I still say though the Friday the 13th Part 2 it needs more Ralph. Because Ralph wasn't in it much, and then he gets off, and he was a good red herring because you kind of thought that maybe he was always going to be a red herring, but you never knew. Yeah. I still say that what the hell happened to the father? They kind of missed the boat on a possibility of a story there.
Yeah. But. Yeah, I don't know, but I said this. It is and will always be my favorite one. Part 2. It is, for sure.
Oh yeah, me too. By far. By far.
Oh yeah, me too. But that's cool. I was just saying, Tim, I'm glad you're doing it like that. It's fun to do, so keep me up updated on the next so many,
Yeah.
So I get them confused after. I used to know them really well, but I don't watch them that much anymore, so I get confused after.
I got you. Yeah, I'm pretty good. No, I think I'm pretty good with all of them. Those I really did pay attention pretty close to those. And I was actually really disappointed because I loved Halloween, and then Halloween to me went really downhill, and Friday the 13th to me was up and down, which was interesting.
Yeah,
so you never knew if you're going to get a good one or not a good one.
Yeah. I was, I was done definitely done with Manhattan, and I was like, oh my god, that was one of the biggest. I thought that was going to be so much fun and so good. Now, once you got to Manhattan, there are some scenes in that stuff that are awesome. I love them.
Stop trying to be nice. It's not worth it anymore. We're in 2020.
Yeah.
Nobody's nice anymore. Forget it.
But,
no.
Yeah, it's an awful. I mean, the first 3/4 of that film is so bad I can't take it. So to get to those parts that I like, I'm not going to watch it. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, part of it for me, that is the environment people are in, and once they lose the woods, they've lost me. It's kind of like putting Michael. Well, they did put him on a spaceship, but they put Jason on a spaceship.
Yeah,
actually, the spaceship Jason, I like Jason X. I like more than
I've never watched it, man. I've never. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
It's just not even trying. I mean, it's like seriously, like the one that is the Jason Goes to Hell with the hidden type of plot line. That one to me was, I saw that in a theater. I think that's the first time I realized I don't think I like theaters. Like I just didn't like it. Yeah. Anyway, but it was a good time watching those first two movies. Amazing. It's amazing watching those first two movies and then realize not more than like maybe 10 years later he's going to be in space. It's 150 minutes. I mean, it is pretty amazing.
That's wow. Yeah. Thank you for that one.
Right. So, all right, let's get to our fish little film for this week, Mr. Ben Harley. Let's see here, from 1986.
Yeah.
That would have been what? That would have been Friday the 13th, Part 6, I believe.
It might have been.
Then. So, we have the movie Spookies.
Just Spookies, not even the Spookies.
Nope, just Spookies, like Gremlins or Okay.
Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws. Troll.
Trolls. Crap.
All right, here we go. So let me get you a movie guy and get you a short storyline synopsis here if it's available. From the movie.
Man, I hope it's not as long or as in depth as the film.
Okay, here we go. A sorcerer tries to sacrifice a group of people inside his house with the intention of using their vitality to keep his wife alive. Okay.
Oh, all right. That's what that was all about.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing with this movie. It was being put together by some people who were involved with, of all things,
Haunted House?
No, The Deadly Spawn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're watching this movie, and I looked over at Angie. I said, this is totally like a Metamorphosis, the Alien Factor type of movie, where it's all just gag after gag after gag after gag. There's really no story going on here. And that's what it is. Yeah. So whereas the other movies was all padding, this had no padding at all. Like there's no, it needed a bumper or something.
Not even in the bras.
No, right, yeah. So basically, these people were making a movie that was supposed to be like Evil Dead. So you basically have two different stories. You have a story of like some kind of old
supposed friends. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Well, no. So you have this old sorcerer type guy in this house. Yeah, and he's trying to resurrect his wife, and he has like a little
wife.
Well, he has like a little werecat like guy that's like his little henchman guy. Okay.
With a hook.
And then, so that, if you watch the movie, that whole plot line, the whole thing, was added to the friends, supposed friends. I have no idea these people were hanging out together.
Yeah, they wouldn't have hung out there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the older guy just kept throwing me on. What the hell is a guy in like the sport coat?
Yeah, insurance salesman.
Yeah, he looked like... I don't know.
Out with some new wave kids.
when they were casting Three's Company, he was the guy sitting next to John Ritter before the read through or whatever. This guy was like not. They were supposed to be kids, like kids as in 20-year-olds or something like that.
Yes.
This guy was I don't know, closer to our age than that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell he was doing there. So these people are driving aimlessly. Apparently they're following the dumbest guy in the group to a party or something.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going. I mean, they
don't know. They don't know. He doesn't know.
No.
Well, he kind of knows, I guess, but they give no explanation like why they're going to this party or like, anything like, yeah, I saw a flyer, dude, and we're going to this party. No, nothing.
Or why all of these
nothing.
Right, and there's no explanation as why all these people want to go to the same party because they don't look like people who would enjoy the same kind of fun at all.
No,
like not even close. And they're arguing the whole time, and they're like they don't even seem like they want to be friends, much less are friends or whatever.
Yeah,
there's only one voiced over moment in the film where the one girl goes, "I grew up with all these people," that was trying to tie it together. That was a voiceover. Listen,
that was
You grew up with like that guy. That guy babysat all you guys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, so.
I go, was that, I had to stop and go back for that because it's like, wait a second. Well, I grew up with these.
Yes.
It was the most weirdest line in the history of movies.
Yeah. It was trying to give you the one signpost to have this all make sense. I mean, that really. So the thing is that this movie has the reputation for being two unrelated films stitched together. That's not true, although it feels like it. The people that were making the original idea of the film were the people who were making the 2 carloads full of friends that go to the house. Okay. So if you watch the movie from their point of view, they go to the house, they get a Ouija board of some sort out, they start fiddling with it, and one of the girls turns into like an Evil Dead demon type of thing.
Yeah.
And then they keep cutting in this old guy in the attic who's pulling all the strings.
Yes.
Well, that guy in the attic, that was all added like months later.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, because they're never in the same spot.
No, they're not. They're not. And the little guy running around the house, the little werecat guy or whatever, like he's added too. And they're just cleverly like editing things together where like a door, like in a haunted house, a door will close on its own and you can't open it.
Yeah.
Well, and what they would do is they would edit in him closing the door from the outside of the door and holding it closed.
Yeah.
But that's not what it was supposed to be. So they were just trying to every little trick they could try to get you to think these things were all happening together. Was going on. So the reason you don't know who these people are, why they're together, is partially because of that. So what happened was these people had the idea. The movie was called Twisted Souls, I think. That's what it was going to be called.
It was like something Twisted Souls production.
Yes, so that's what the movie was going to be called. So apparently, the producer, the guy, I guess the money guy, was a British guy, I think. So they were making this movie, they were producing it, and then they were in the editing phase of it. Okay. So then this guy, during the editing phase, basically fires everybody, and then hires somebody totally different to recut what was already done, and then to add this other shit.
Okay.
So it was hopeless to begin with. So what we have then are a group of people trapped, I guess, sort of, in this big mansion house out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was a big party going on.
Yes. It was quite a party. Like, they all went there just to be smug to each other.
Like, what the hell is...
It's like,
I don't know.
Those 2 people over there are having their own party. Those 2 people, and there's like 4 people. It's like 6 or 8 people or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a hand puppet, Tim. Did we mention the hand puppet?
Okay.
Yet?
So there's a guy too that's supposed to be comic relief. Oh God, is he painful? Oh, and he looks like Niedermeyer from Animal House. And he's
he does. Yeah,
constantly is trying to make jokes. He's like the comic relief, I guess.
Yeah.
This movie needed no relief from no comedy relief at all.
No.
And he was very difficult to stick with.
I will say he had a shirt on with a picture of himself.
I did like that.
And his puppet.
Yeah.
So
most redundant shirt of all time. Yeah.
I did appreciate that.
That was the only funny thing basically about him or that. But so you are seeing two movies kind of stitched together. But the legend is that they're unrelated. That is not true. It was supposed to be put in there. Okay, so and that's really the whole movie. There is all kinds of creatures and monsters and things about. And
yes, all over the place.
Yeah, this movie was supposed to be like a hodgepodge. You could tell it was supposed to be a lot like The Deadly Spawn or these movies, where it was basically like just throw some people in a house and throw monsters at them.
Right. And lots of monsters,
yes,
and some that didn't even look like they should be from the same movie.
No,
there was no consistency with some of the stuff. I was like, wait, what the hell was that? Like, there are some props that I was like, did they like invite some of the, or did they? It was the people that made a haunted house decide to make a movie or something. Like, I don't know, you know, like some of it was, I mean, I've seen better props in haunted houses on some of the stuff. Now, some of it was very ambitious, man, like super ambitious. There's a spider lady that like, it didn't look good to me, but it was very ambitious. You know what I mean?
For the time, it wasn't bad at all.
My God.
I mean,
no.
People, look, we're all clamoring for practical effects. Folks, that's what it was.
There it is. Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious, though. Like, I was grinning watching the movie because, A, it was stupid.
Yeah.
But B, I thought it was kind of funny because it was stupid. It really was so bad, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And which is a positive, by the way. I meant that almost as a compliment because it wasn't full of padding. It was full of what the fuck?
It was going full force. It
needed padding. Like I said, it needed bumpers. It needed brakes or something because it was just going and going and going. And monsters were coming out of nowhere. There was the muck monsters from the basement that farted.
Yeah, that was farted. Oh my God.
And wine killed him. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a.
And why are they in a wine cellar if that's who's going to kill them? Why were they hanging out down there?
That's a good point. Yeah. So, and that's the movie. So the movie was supposed to be a lot like The Evil Dead, where these people go to a place.
There was a lot of influence.
Right.
A lot.
So what throws you off are the characters that are added. And another one of the characters is a kid, like a 12, 13-year-old kid who runs away from home. And he's completely tied into this little werecat guy.
The meerkat guy, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like his character and his arc and what happens to him is so bizarre that it's like it doesn't make a lick of sense. None of it does. No. And so I actually would like to see the original version of this. Yeah. Because I think it'd be a lot better. Yeah, because I like all the monsters. I like everything going on. And then when they start showing the old coot in the attic with the woman, it's like, geez, what is this? And
that's where the brakes started to come.
Yes,
it was
and I didn't like the guy. I didn't like the guy creeping around the house, like the werecat guy. I did not like that guy at all. No, and the little kid, I was glad to see him go. And they didn't mince anything about making sure you knew he was gone. He was a goner, you know. Yeah. They also have a little vampire kid running around.
Yeah,
he's really annoying.
He's kind of like one of the things from the Phantasm. In between that, and the vampire, he's kind of like he's got a cloak, or a hooded cloak.
Yeah. It looks like the kid from Salem's Lot a little bit. Like a younger version of him. Right. And he has like bad monster teeth and stuff. So they're basically throwing a really bad 80s witchcrafty type subplot on top of a movie that doesn't need it. So you can clearly see what was supposed to happen is the demoned out girl, who I was a little upset because she was awful easy on the eyes and they put makeup on her quick. And then they have the unattractive woman with, I don't know if you ever even saw her face. Yeah. Because her chest was sticking out. Even Angie was commenting on those things, you know. Yeah. So she's not lacking herself, but it was like, she was even commenting on those, you know, like, wow, gee whiz. Yeah. And it makes it confusing because, well, who's pulling the strings here? Is it the demoned out girl or is it the guy that's supposedly pulling her strings? And there's too many strings being pulled here. Oh, yeah. And it just didn't even need that stuff they threw in. It would have been much better without it because it needed a little padding to understand why these people are together and why they're there. And you never get that. All you get is another confusing subplot about a wizard up in a fucking attic with his dead wife who looks awful good compared to him.
Yeah. I think he kept her there. She was one of them where he kept her. She kept saying, let me die. I don't want to be, you know. And he didn't want to let her. He kept resurrecting her or whatever, and then
there's something really wrong with this movie.
Yeah, then at the end, the old kind of the weird phantasm type thing where we're safe, and then no, you're not.
Right. Oh, they just once they're done with the people in the cars that are in the house, then they just go after. Then they follow the wife of the wizard guy, who all of a sudden becomes instead of her being some sort of specter or something, now she becomes a victim.
Yeah, that was weird because I didn't understand, like, what happened here now, and then it turns into a zombie film for. It does,
for
a little bit there.
And,
then it turns into, so they had to represent everybody.
Yes.
And the zombies are definitely represented.
Right. So it's almost like the original filmmakers wanted to make a Evil Dead type of thing. And the producer guy came in and he fired everybody. He wanted to make something more like, I don't know, it's like cross between Witchboard and Return of the Living Dead or something.
Yeah.
And those things just don't mix. I mean, they just did not mix at all. And I really think that the original idea, I'd like to see it seen through. I really would. And I like the Deadly Spawn and Metamorphosis. I like these kitchen sink movies that make no sense because the monsters are fun.
Yeah.
And it reminds you like of what you used to see on the video shelf. This was a video movie. This was a movie that you saw on your video shelves and stuff. I think there was actually a pretty famous comic book artist that did the cover art.
Okay.
For this. Let me see. Richard Corbin?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he did the poster art and the video box for the film.
Oh, wow. All right.
So he, but again, and like a lot of these, this is the thing about what I like about this is what I like about Metamorphosis and I like about Spookies. And remember, or the Deadly Spawn. Remember, there are connections. People who worked on the Deadly Spawn and stuff worked on this. And some of the money that was made off of Deadly Spawn, I think the producer guy that screwed this movie up, I think he distributed it in England, and it was a video nasty. So he made a lot of money really quick off distributing the contraband, basically the illegal movies. So he got rich real quick. He took the money, I think, that he made off of the Deadly Spawn and stuff, and that's some of the movie that this movie was made, or some of the money this movie was made with.
Okay. All right.
What I like about this, what I like about like Metamorphosis and these other movies is that there's a lot of different monsters in them, and every single monster in them could have been the single main monster in a film back then.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So if you get 50 monsters in this movie, any one of them could have been the only monster, and it would have still had a shot to be a good movie.
Yeah.
I know there's the farting muck monsters in the basement, but they have like the one monster was like a Fiji mermaid monster, snake guy or something and
then it grew into a giant, one like, and it had like a tentacle that would go around your neck, and it burnt the lady's face off, and then it had a heart beating on the inside, like it was,
And there was
because some of that stuff would just be gone. So I was like, well, is this kind of like like a waxworks type thing where there's certain monsters that kill people. Each person gets killed by a different monster or something.
It's one of those movies that your eyes will love and your brain will hate you.
Like, what the hell are you trying to
do? Yeah. But the thing is that it's so bad it's not boring.
Right.
But it's not made bad. It's just put together horribly. I mean, horribly. It's like I've seen, like, I thought everything's competent. The acting is what it is.
Yeah.
And there's like other things too. Like there was a scene where, the guy that looks like one of the Revenge of the Nerds and his girlfriend, they run out screaming and shrieking at each other.
Yeah.
And they're making these weird movements and like, ah, ah.
Yeah.
And they're looking at each other screaming. And you're like, God, they're really scared. Why don't they run away from the house? Well, that shot was supposed to have ghosts superimposed on it. And they were supposed to be shooing the ghosts away. And they were supposed to be afraid. Well, they never did that. So they just have a scene of these two people running out, like shooing away nothing and screaming at each other, looking completely out of control for no reason at all, except something scared them inside the house. So something scared them inside the house. They ran out and looked at each other and started screaming and doing. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So anyway, nothing makes a lick of sense. Nothing does make a lick of sense. But if you take, it's almost like some movies you look at, you're like, God, if they only added, like, if they would just tell me what was going on, it would help. If this movie was like, if you would have just taken away a quarter of this movie and added one little scene explaining why these people were together, you didn't need the rest of it at all. It was fine. Yeah. And that producer, which I'm sure you know, the original filmmakers also agree with me that producer totally fucked this movie up.
Oh yeah, it's all. I mean, there's just stuff like with the little kid at the beginning. He shows up at that house, and he ran away, but he shows up at that mansion, and there's a birthday party going on. And he's like, "Oh, you guys did remember? Mm-hmm. What you're in a mansion that you've never been in, a deserted place, and then wait, what?" I'm like,
right.
How dumb are you, kid? Like, first, I don't know. There's some really weird, creepy part with him talking to some creep in the woods. And then the creep gets fucking killed by the meerkat with the hook.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, man. It was really bizarre the whole time.
Right. So when you think about it, if you take out all of that, then it almost starts to make sense. Then you almost get at least a evil, because look, there's no plot to Evil Dead either. No, but you get something more similar. People are driving in a car. Together. Well, people are driving in a car. They go to this place and they read from a book. And this movie, they get a Ouija board, and then they unleash an evil that starts possessing them. Yeah, that in this movie, it's more like only one person gets possessed, but reading the book or doing the Ouija board allows all of these monsters to come out of this house.
I guess
to open a portal for all these creatures to come out. I mean, it's really easy to explain it that way. That's real easy. Easier, Once you throw in the guy in the attic and the wife and the werecat run around, the kid with the creepy, like, what was that dude doing out in the woods by himself? Yeah.
Right, sitting down eating like a pudding cup or something, man. And then what was he eating a moon pie? I'm like, what are you doing, kid?
Yeah, and then being creepy to the kid. And what are the odds of them two running afoul of each other? So that really ruined it, and it bleeds into the original film, the original idea for the film. Yeah, I don't know, Harley. I mean, it's sort of like Metamorphosis of these movies, where I really enjoyed watching it because of how bad it was.
Sure.
And I enjoyed it because it was fascinating to see how bad they fucked it up. It's not a good movie. You don't sit down with a bowl of popcorn and with your cousin Larry who likes Jurassic Park. You don't sit down and watch this movie with them.
No.
You sit down with your drugs that Latitude Zero will help. Yeah. And this will help those as well. So it's one of those movies, but it's very, very cool to the eyes, though. Some of it is. I mean, very cool to the eyes, and it really tries hard as hard can be not to be boring.
Right, and it's not. It goes at a pretty good pace. Mm-hmm. There's always something right around the corner. There's not much. Yeah, not much padding at all. Like it's just. It definitely needed some for sure.
It's like Ultraman Singer says, people ruin everything, and this movie was ruined. It could have been I think it would have been a little minor classic.
Yeah,
like The Gate, maybe. It's got like that. It's like kind of like The Gate. There's really no plot, but there's monsters coming out of everywhere, and the effects are really good, I think. I think the effects in this are good for what they are. Sure. They're cheap 1985 effects. I know it was released in 86, but they're making it in 85, you can imagine. So they're doing what they can do with a lot of ingenuity and some soap and
they
spit,
did a lot. They did a lot.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
A lot in this movie. Yeah.
I mean, it's practical monster suit after monster suit after monster suit after monster suit. It's like, oh my God,
no, they weren't playing around.
No. So it's impressive by the sheer volume of spooks and specters in it. It really is. No pun intended. Well, I guess there was a Spookies pun intended there. I don't like the name of the movie. I don't think
it's awful. Yeah. There's some painful characters in this, but some of them I liked it because they were so painful. I'm like, this guy, the
puppet guy. Like I was ready for him to go.
Yeah, but they had the what's his face though? The bully guy at the beginning. Awful,
Duke.
Man. Yeah. Oh, he was awful. But he was good though, you know what I mean? It's like, he's just like the stuff he's getting into, like Like, well, I don't care. I take this crowbar and open this one door, man. Like, what? There's something trying to get out of it. No, it's just and then the corpse falls on them. But just stupid stuff. Like, there's a bottle of wine that's been sitting there. It's like, God, so much. Okay. Well, I guess wine's supposed to get better as it goes.
Yeah, they can turn back into vinegar. She was right.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, don't do that. But just some silly stuff like that. But I don't know.
I mean, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a very, very mild grape ape up, and it's for all of the spookies in it. It's for all of the monsters and all of the, it's for the original filmmaker's vision. I see it there, and you have to almost mentally edit it yourself in your head and take that other shit out. Unfortunately, it's there, and it is part of the movie. And it's unfortunate to me. I really think it's unfortunate because this is a very ambitious film, effects wise and production wise. They didn't have any money, and every cent went into, I think, what you see on screen. I can't think they had a nice buffet sitting there waiting for the actors or anything.
Each actor had a trailer. And,
I don't think so. But anyway, I'm going to give it a real mild grape ape up. Terrible movie, but a really well made terrible movie, I guess you could say. And it's not boring. If it was boring, it would be a big but it's not boring. And what's the cardinal rule of B movies? You can't be boring. You can't be boring. So it doesn't break that rule, but it definitely breaks the coherent rule big time. What do you think, Harley?
Same thing, mild grape ape up. I mean, it was super ambitious. I can't poop on it, because it was ambitious, and I actually enjoyed it for the most part. I didn't really know what was going on.
Right.
I didn't really care for a wizard. Yeah, give me a break, man. The wizard. He looked like a butler, man. Like some, you know what I mean? Wizard. Give me a break.
Well, does it kind of remind you a little bit? This has popped in my head, but I think a good example would it be Neon Maniacs?
Yeah.
Remember Neon Maniacs had no plot, and there was just monsters coming out of some door
everywhere. Yeah. Some door down by the
river or something. It's like okay, and that. So, but that made about as much sense of this movie. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
right. Yeah.
To confuse mild grape apes up for the eye candy, I guess, in Spookies. Yeah. But man, is this a weird movie? If you look this up, you'll probably recognize the cover art if you were a VHS kid back when we were.
Yeah.
If not, Vinegar Syndrome put this out on Blu-ray.
Okay.
So if you're interested, check it out. Try to find it streaming or something. It's interesting. It's a curiosity. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah, so. If anything, it's interesting, yes.
Right. Okay, well, next week, Mr. Ben Harley is still going to be on our vacation shows and all that, but I'll tell you what.
Timo's still going to be down in the holler.
Yeah, and we're going to be dancing the line of taste next week.
Oh, yes.
Tell you that we will. So, it's going to be quite a balancing act and a tight wire act. Next week, Mr. Ben Harley. So all you deep thinkers out there, be prepared for that. We're going to be treading in dangerous waters here. So until next week, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.